Let us speak the way we know how.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Ross. I'm a self-advocate person who is neurodivergent, autistic, and neurodiversity activist who's independent from any organization, self-advocacy, or medical charity. I'm not involved with the NCN or any other medical charity organization or self-advocacy organization in disability. So anyway, that's non-disclosure. Today I'll be talking about the individuals and their self-directed activism toward what they want to achieve, a training for brokers and Medicaid service coordinators. So, which is the idea of what we need to talk about when we think about disabled people or people with disabilities, or people with developmental disabilities that are seeking services. The individuality of a person is important for several reasons, because we have the choices we make, the genetics, the beliefs, the values, the appearance, the ethnicity, the practices and habits, the works and hobbies, friends and family, interests, objects, possessions, and creations. All these things determine what our individuality becomes. This is all part of our choices of what we want, except for genetics, which is predisposed. From that individuality, we begin to start talking about how do we identify ourselves? Now, how do we identify ourselves? Do we identify ourselves in the way that we're a person with disability, or identify ourselves as a disabled person, or whichever way, or we identify ourselves as male, or a person with maleness, or any other gender non-conforming identities. So, but in the way we speak about what we want to talk about is, we speak in any way that the person who is identified as wants others to identify themselves in that way. So for instance, if a person wants to identify themselves as a disabled person, that's okay. But if a person wants to identify themselves as a person with disability, that's okay. If a person just wants to say their name, that's okay too. If a person wants to say, my name is Jason, I'm a disabled person, that's okay. So what is self-advocacy and why is it so important? Self-advocacy is important because it is a basic human right. Everyone gets to self-advocate, everyone gets the chances to do what they feel they want to speak up about themselves. So no one gets to say what other people cannot do, think, say, or act, or represent themselves as. Being human means having the individual rights to be whoever we want to be. For example, asking you to give me equal rights implies that they are yours to give. Instead, I must demand that you stop trying to deny the rights all people deserve. Because that's important. Because everyone deserves these rights. They're basic human rights. Self-determination. Self-determination is the freedom to choose as one chooses, or to act or decide without consulting another or others, without being influenced by others. For example, there's important aspects of self-determination, in which case we choose what we want. We have the freedom to choose, and from that there's risks in self-determination, there's contribution, there's control, there's responsibility, there's authority, and there is support, respect, relationships, dreaming, and creativity. All these imply what self-determination predisposes everyone to. As individuals' path to self-determination, everyone has their own agendas. It's important not to influence the individual to what you think they should want. So if an individual wants to, say, go to school, or go to work, or go hang out somewhere, or just spend the day in a day have, or someone wants to do something particularly that another person may not like, it doesn't matter because it's what the individual wants, regardless of what other people think or say. So it's about the choices we make for ourselves. Everyone has their own agendas. Everyone has what they want to do, what they want for their life. It's important not to influence the individuals to what you think they should want. The individual has to advocate for themselves constantly when the agencies and others want to maintain their own agendas or what they think is right for the individual. Because what's right for the individual is not right for other people, but it's right for the individual because that's what the individual chooses. I must make sure I maintain my own self-advocacy to get what I want and need for my own success in my life. It's about control, and about self-control, and about being aware of what we are, and being self-aware of everything around us. Because if we're not self-aware, and we're not aware of things around us, then self-determination is going to diminish, and we're going to lack support in our life. And people are going to tell rather than support. I must make sure I maintain my own self-advocacy. The stronger self-advocate I become, the more I get what I want and need. So we can't be afraid to say no, but we can't be afraid to say yes either. And something does not feel right for an agency or person. So example, if an agency says, you're not going to self-direct, and the individual wants to self-direct, you can't do that. Or if an agency says, or if anyone says something that an individual doesn't want, a person can't say that. It's about getting the self-advocate to understand they have a right to control their own life, and they have a right to not control but own everything that they do and say, because they're taking responsibility, and this is about taking responsibility, not experiencing anything else. So telling everyone what you want and need is very important. The person-centered self-directed services maintaining self-determination is very important, because by being person-centered, we guide into what the individual's own self-determination is. The individual makes decisions based on what they believe feels right for them, without being directed by other people telling them what to do. For example, if an individual chooses further education to enable themselves toward their activism, let them. Because this is activism. Activism is being self-directed, while being involved with telling someone what to do is not activism. The individual gets to make their own mistakes too and learn from these mistakes. No one tells or influences the individual but offers support, because that's support decision-making in the process as well of self-direction. Self-direction and support decision-making go hand in hand. If a person wants to self-direct, they're also saying, I want support decision-making too. An individual self-directing their own life, the individual calls their own meetings. The individual creates their own circle of support, which includes mostly the broker, the individual's choice of supportive people, and partly the Medicaid service coordinator. The individual tells the circle of support what they want in their life, what they need, and what success looks like for them. And the individuals get the support from the circle support to understand how to get that in place and make that a dream come true. The circle support is only there to support the decisions of the individual's wants and needs in their life, while helping to make those things possible. The individual makes all decisions. The individual is an adult who is taking responsibility for their own life. This is about supported decision-making. Self-direction. We are our choices, John Paul Sartre. Very important quote, because by doing that, we get to choose who we want to allocate our money for, fiscal intermediary, the broker to help us create the self-directed plan and create the things we want, and the Medicaid service coordinator to help us guide us through the benefits counseling. And through that, we formulate our circle of support with other people we connect to. So the head fiscal intermediary is the head because they're the ones who allocate the money and get people going onto how to allocate from the budget to release money for this person for the individual to take out the approved budget. And that's what their main purpose is, and they're like the main money maker. The broker, which is the body of the whole system, is the main person who works with the individual. So they work with everything else. They get the person-centered plan going. They got what's going on, what the wants and needs are, and the supports, and get everything together because they're the main person who gets the individual the most. The MSC just does the least, but is important too because they're benefits counseling and ISP support. So they get the ISP together, help them to find a broker necessary to get self-direction going and benefits counseling with food stamps and stuff like that. So as what this meeting is about, this meeting right now, while I'm talking, I did this is to just get my group going and get more people to understand why I created this meetup group and why I'm doing this talk today. I'm doing this talk today because I'm trying to help other disabled people build community and direct their own lives. Because it's important, especially in Rockland County where there's no meetup groups around. And by doing this, I created this meetup group called Neurodiverse Central Network. And this group is an open discussion group, open social group, whether they want to talk intellectual things or just have fun, and they can help each other out to create a vision of being in a community where it's open-minded, whether from varying degrees of impairments, from very severe impairments to milder impairments, to even disabled to disabled allies and allies from non-disabled people too. Because it's important to broaden the whole community out and make the whole disability community and our allies come together as one in one group. So that's what my meetup group is about, Neurodiverse Central Network. And disabled people's rights and civil rights equals human rights. And because the main reason why I created this group is because most people view disabled people as not part of the human race, even though we really are. And by showing that we're part of the human race, we're doing it without prejudicial thinking or tragic burden thoughts. For example, burden, nutter, brave, pathetic, less able, failure. These are typical things that people view disabled people as. And this is what this group's about too, is not to view disabled people like us, who are in the group, as these tragic, or any of these words that are in the, that people typically view us as. And disabled people are not your inspiration. We're not your inspiration. I'm not your inspiration. No one is. We are people too, and we need to be respected with what we want out of our life, just as much as everyone else. Respect what we want, and we will respect you. But at the same time, if a non-disabled person gets paid to do work being done, please concur with disabled people too, because we're working hard just as much as non-disabled people. And if we do something, working hard at something, we're going to do and work hard too to get paid at the same rate. So, as Stella Young says, I'm not your inspiration. Supported decision-making. Supported decision-making in New York is something that we all do every day. Supported decision-making is a process by which a person with intellectual and development disability can be supported in making his or her own decisions. We call them decision makers. There's no one-size-fits-all model for SDM or self-supported decision-making. It generally occurs when people receive assistance from one or more trusted friends, family members, professionals, or advocates to help them understand situations they face and choices and options they have so they can make their own decisions. That is what the next speaker, Dena Riley, will be talking about in supported decision-making and how New York State is creating a support decision-making website so that support decision-making is promoted for self-direction, OPWGD, and people develop with disabilities to understand too. And so if you want more information about supported decision-making, please go to supporteddecisionmaking.org or the National Resource for Supported Decision-Making, Northampton, Massachusetts Supported Decision-Making Pilot Project, supportdecisions.org/pilot project, Maine's Supported Decision-Making Coalition, supportmydecisions.org, or Supported Decision-Making New York, sdmny.org. And as one person says, from Yuri Kochiyama, who died a long time ago, Japanese activist, said, consciousness is power, consciousness is education and knowledge, consciousness is being aware, tomorrow's world is yours to build, and today is our world to build a better community and a better world that is the most, that will help people along the way. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Dena Riley. I'm a professor at Hunter College of Adolescent Special Education, and I'm also part of the Supported Decision-Making grant at Hunter College. We are 5 colleagues who won a $1.5 million grant over 5 years to enhance supported decision-making in New York State. So in terms of supported decision-making, it's something that we all do, either individuals with disabilities or without disabilities, every single day. We make decisions, and then we have people, the circle of support, as Jason said, who help us to make those decisions. And with supported decision-making, what it is, it's just a basic contract. And it says, hey, I'm the decision maker, the person with the disability becomes the decision maker, and then other people become their circle of support. There's also a facilitator involved that facilitates not only the decision maker's decisions, but also the people within this circle of support. So everyone's on the same page with the decisions that these individuals make. Look at you with these slides.
Yeah.
So it is, I mean, it's already, supported decision making is something that has already been done. Nonotuck, Massachusetts has a huge supported decision making program with great success. I've been there several times. It's amazing the kinds of independent choices that individuals within the Nonotuck program are making. And so Nonotuck, Massachusetts has one, Texas, Montana, right? What other states? We were talking about the other states that have them.
I think mostly in the Midwest.
It's a lot of Midwestern states.
Yeah.
Texas has a huge supported decision-making program and contract, Washington, D.C., Nonotuck, and now here we are in New York really starting this up and boosting this up. So it's really, really exciting. And in terms of, the key concepts, I think you have, again, the decision maker. So in this case, I'm going to use Jason as an example. Jason would be the decision maker for himself. You would have a facilitator that would help facilitate decisions for Jason. And then you would, of course, have the supporters, the circle of support that helps Jason also make decisions. And the circle of support is chosen by Jason or, whoever. And you say, for money decisions, I want my mother to help me. For decisions regarding relationships, I'd like my friend to help me. So you choose as the decision maker who you want to help with certain decisions. It's much like, people with or without disabilities do every day. I have my mother here supporting me. When sometimes I'm too tired, my dad will come and pick me up from work. And so we all do this every single day, and it's just sort of trying to positively have individuals with disabilities also do this. And again, it's full inclusion for me, so I don't see any differences between myself or Jason. It's just 2 individuals making decisions, but in the supported decision-making contract, Jason is the decision maker. And so in terms of theory of change, I think that the strongest part of supported decision-making is that this is a program of full inclusion. So when we talk about inclusion in schools, right, where individuals with and without disabilities work in a classroom together, That's one thing. But then as adults sometimes, there's not full inclusion between people with and without disabilities. And with the supported decision-making program, what we're really trying to do is just to promote full inclusion for students with and without disabilities as they grow up, as they become adults, just as we are all fully inclusive. So I love this program because it's truly a program of full inclusion. It's the one way that we can all work together to include people with disabilities, include people without disabilities, and have them form a real relationship in terms of full equality and full self-determination. So it's really strong in that sense. Again, we're supported Decision-Making New York, so our website is sdmny.org. I'm Dr. Dena Riley. I work at Hunter College. I should have brought more business cards. I gave one to you and I gave one to Jason. But they'll share my information. You're welcome to share my information with your supporters as well. And thank you guys. Thank you for coming. So excited.
And don't forget to support decisionmaking.org.
Yeah, supporteddecisionmaking.org is also a fantastic website in terms of learning more about supported decision making. So yeah. So questions? Does anyone have any questions?
How do you measure your outcome as far as the individuals that you use?
Yeah, so we have a outside qualitative data company come in, so it's non-biased because we're doing the project, and the outside data reporting company comes in and takes the data and provides a report. It's really, really the outcomes part of it is so completely separate from us because we want it to be the most unbiased report there is. So they're actually in Oregon. They come to New York to do interviews not only with myself, not only with my colleagues, but also with all the decision makers and all the facilitators and all the supporters.
Okay, and your decision making is throughout New York, not just Hunter County?
Yeah, no, so we're starting in the 5 boroughs, and so that's where our start is. And then we're branching out to Rockland, Orange, Sullivan, and upstate within the 5 years. So the first start is within the boroughs.
Oh.
Yeah, which is exciting. We have a bunch of potential decision makers, and we also have a bunch of potential decision makers outside of the 5 boroughs that we're working with too. So it's really, I mean, when you see what they've done in Massachusetts, they've really created a community of supported decision making. It's something that we love to do here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we hope it's one of those programs that really promotes full inclusion. I so strongly in my bones believe in it. So yeah. Any other questions?
The sun will rise, we will rise in our diversity, the sun